What's going on, guys? It's Kitten of Doom, and today we're going to be going over the 8.4 and 8.5 patch notes and all of the changes that are going to be happening. This is a pretty good patch. So just wanted to let you guys know of what's going on in case you don't have time to watch the entire patch notes. So 8.4 is the bonus update that's going to be live May 4th. These are all of the new skins that are going to be heading in that patch. You got the Kuzenbot, Kuzenbo, Stitched Creation, Agni, and Extraterrestrial Tiamat. I'm really excited about the Tiamat skin. It looks absolutely amazing. Just reminds me of the Alien vs. Predator kind of thing, and it fits her pretty well. I like the Kuzenbo skin a lot too, but it kind of looks different in game, and then the Agni skin, pretty cool too, but mostly excited about Tiamat. Alright, and the bonus balance, they are nerfing Spear of Desolation, decreasing the cooldown from the passive, just decrease the amount of cooldown subtracted from the ultimate ability from 8 seconds to 6 seconds when the item's passive triggers. So a lot of mages were just picking up this and it was pretty strong, so they are just nerfing that, and that's pretty much it on that one. Some other really good ones coming are nerfs to Ansel and Shifter Shield. I know a lot of the bruiser items have been pretty strong lately, and I'll read you this one. In 8.1, a few hybrid items were shifted more toward power and away from defenses. Since then, these items have become extremely powerful in both jungle and solo, as the stats are just too good to turn down, and they are decreasing the power on Ansel and Shifter Shield to level the playing field between the classes. And I pretty much agree with this. A lot of bruiser items like this are just really too strong. You can be really tanky and still do a lot of damage. So they're decreasing the physical power on this and increasing the cost, and then kind of doing the same thing, decreasing physical power on shifters and the physical power from the passive also. For the Boomba's Hammer upgrade, they are decreasing the cooldown from 20% to 10% and removed all penetration. And this was basically being used by all sorts of classes and not just junglers, so they're balancing that out a little bit, and it's losing all of its pretty OP stats. As for Gods and Gilgamesh, they are nerfing him a little bit because he was a little bit too strong. They are decreasing his basic attack damage on his 1 from 3.5 to 3% of his max health. And for Heroes Advance, decreasing physical power scaling from 65% to 50% and increasing the cooldown by 1 second on that. And our girl Tiamat is getting another nerf, which is kind of deserved. And they're basically just decreasing the healing she gets just because she's really tanky and good at surviving fights. I would agree with this. So just pretty basic on this one. Tsukiyomi, they are nerfing, decreasing the damage mitigation he gets when he fires his ult, and decreasing the physical power scaling on the dash damage from 50% to 45% per hit. Tsukiyomi has been pretty strong lately, has a lot of good scaling. I think these will help him out and be less frustrating to go against him for sure. Another really good OP god in ranked right now, Guan Yu. Just does a crap ton of damage and is tanky at the same time, so they're decreasing the damage that he's doing on his ult. Totally agree with that. I think he's really good right now. He'll probably still stay pretty strong even after this, so just that on Guan Yu. Follow, another pretty high pick, high ban rate god in ranked. They are decreasing the stats gained from his passive with an ability down from 2 to 1. And for his 3, they're decreasing the movement speed, buff and debuff on it. Across the Sky for his ultimate, increase the mana cost on that so he can't just stay up there forever like that. I am all good for Apollo nerfs because he was pretty good for a long time. Oh boy, Athena, adding damage to her confound has been pretty crazy. She's another high pick, high ban rate also, so they're trying to scale her back a little bit. reverted the duration increase from the 2. So now it's just 1 second up to 2 instead of 1.2 to 2. Just a little bit less of a taunt each time you rank it up. Decreased the magical damage scaling 30% to 20. Decreased the base damage on it also. I think this is much needed. She's pretty good right now. I'm glad that people are playing Athena again. Alright, and for on her, they are decreasing the physical power scaling on his Impale from 80% to 75%, and Desert Fury for his ultimate is seeing a little bit of a damage nerf as well. And Set, the most banned god in ranked. He can hard carry pretty well. They're decreasing his main damage output source as well as making him easier to counter from physical gods, and this should help make him a little bit less frustrating to play against. Decreased damage on Skewer, decreased physical damage reduction on Sandstorm. And Sobek, pretty intimidating support. They are just increasing his luck cooldown from 13 to 14 seconds. I don't think this will, be too big of a deal, but Sobek is pretty good in support right now, so they're just trying to keep him in line. Maybe that 1 second will make the difference. All right, and now for the 8.5 update notes. This is the Monstercat Battlepass update. This is amazing. It has so many good things in it. First off, amazing skins. The Lushy Hades, Sullivan King Gilgamesh, Coven Changa, Crabbrave Kepri are all going to be in the Battle Pass. They all have really great effects too. Love all of these. I don't really play Gilgamesh, but he still looks awesome. I would say I love the Crab Kepri and the Coven Changa, of course, and even the Hades is pretty cool in game. A huge, amazing announcement that just shocked everybody is that they added Azula Pele to their lineup of Avatar The Last Airbender skins. She looks amazing in game. I'll have to show you.
She will roast me.
Look at her. So
the team that
our audio team. Sorry, go ahead.
the team that worked on all these Avatar skins, they have a whole bunch of passion for this stuff, and they put in there's some super small details from how they animate and what effects are there, and all like making sure that pose is very iconic of the series, making sure all that's in. If you can just see the amount they pour into this, it's really cool.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
and they're super fans too. We have a team that's the Avatar Strike team, and they're all super fans of Avatar, so they're super passionate. They make sure that everything is top tier for this skin.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure that working on it for them was really incredible. All of the Avatar stuff. And then I also wanted to throw out that we have the voice actress Megan Shipman, who will be voicing Azula Pele. And then the last little note from our audio team was that Pele's sound design works very well for Azula, so we're excited for y'all to hear it all in game when you try it out in PTS. Yeah. Let's give the voice pack a listen.
My brother has disgraced the Fire Lord and brought shame on all of us. I will not hesitate to bring him down.
Oh, yes. This is so good. Let's head in game to get a better look.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, yes! Oh my gosh, these effects. Really, oh my goodness. It is so exciting to see these things really brought to life in Smite. When I first started playing Smite 6 years ago or something, I never imagined that we would be where we are today. Oh, look at her. Look at her go.
Dude, the music, you hear it?
Yeah, the music's active during that. And finally we got the ultimate here.
Oh my gosh, that is
super
so dope.
Crazy lightning. Oh, I love the sparking effect to show that you're in the ult state.
Yes!
Woo!
Oh, this is so pretty.
It's so hot, dude.
I love how the effects glow and have so much contrast with everybody around them. Beautiful. So
I don't know if you were told, but there's also is a VXG for this too.
Ooh, show us.
He literally marks the ground with using her lighting and fire to like burn the fire emblem or the Fire Nation symbol into the ground.
Whoa!
That is so sick. Do it again.
Really cool stuff there. Just nice little touch.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. So that will be available on May 18th. And remember, the rest of the Avatar gang will be coming back as direct purchase skins as well. Oh, yay!
Exciting.
So, yeah, she just looks fantastic. So happy that they're adding Azula Pele. The community was pretty much asking for this, like when the first lineup came, and this is just the perfect god for her. Just looks amazing. And then just a quick overview of some other ones. We got the Wash skin, Shark Odin, this Oleron looks pretty cool. I love this soul skin, mermaid soul skin. We got an on her, and then we have an Athena Rework update, and I will go ahead and show some footage of that as well.
Battleground is going to be the Athena remodel. So this is different from a rework. Her kit is going to be staying the same. This is all visual. So let's take a look at the card art. Oh my gosh.
So pretty. Love the owls.
It is so nice. Yes, and I feel like this ties back to, you know, where she's from a little bit better with her hair, and she's got an updated voice pack as well, so we'll go over that.
Yeah, that's huge.
And so we've updated her base, her masteries, and her recolor as well.
Oh, that's so cool. The legendary coloration's so great.
Yes. I love the recolor. That red, it pops. I love it. If you
Very
are
cool
curious,
stuff.
though, if you are all about the classics, we will have the classic skin available for purchase, and it will use the old voice pack, and you can get that for either favor or gems. Oh, yes. I want to cosplay this so bad. This is beautiful.
I'm so glad we've like revisited some of these older characters. The Sobek,
Wisdom
Athena
and
now,
strategy are better defenses than shields and armor.
Oh my goodness. Yes, and I love her updated voice pack. Yes.
Yeah, the art team revisiting these older characters and updating them has been really cool to see what they do with them.
Just like brings like a new life to these characters. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, and like we said, the kit will be staying the same. So if you are an Athena main, your playstyle will stay the same. You'll just look a little bit more stylish.
Which now your Confound is nerfed, so you know.
Oh right.
You're still pretty strong. You're still pretty happy with the nerf.
So I pretty much think Athena just looks fantastic. She looks so beautiful. Amazing remodel. Absolutely happy with this. I think it fits her so much better. Love her helmet. Love just everything. It's a new voice pack on her as well. And you are going to be able to get the old remodel in-game just with favor, and that keeps the old voice pack as well. Alright, and then pretty much a bonus update May 4th, and then the Monstercat Battlepass in this current patch that we're going over is going to come out May 18th. So we do have to wait about 2 weeks for that to come out. So just a heads up on that. Monstercat Battlepass is going to be 700 gems, and if you want the faster track, comes with more battle points to finish it faster, it's 1300 gems. Comes with all of these things. There's some ward skins level up, jump stamps, music themes, bunch of good stuff, as well as those skins we went over earlier. Just really quick, starter items will now appear in the search bar of the item store. Nothing too crazy there. Another thing about some early surrendering in ranked. In the case of that, the winning team will now acquire a reduced amount of MMR instead of 0 MMR. Losing team will have no gain or loss if they have a teammate that disconnects. But that person that disconnects will receive pretty big penalty for disconnecting. Big update for ranked. They are returning with ranked resets. I know that's been a problem with some people just sitting in GM and not playing. So pretty much everyone Diamond 1 and above are going to be reset down to Diamond 1 and 2400 MMR. So it'll give people a chance to rush for GM or to race to GM again. So I feel like that is a good change because normally we are used to ranked resets. Bunch of bug fixes. Feel free to read the patch notes on these. As for item nerfs, they are nerfing Wind Demon. It's in the SPL. It seems like crit has been pretty prominent. So they are trying to nerf that a little bit. They're decreasing the movement speed from 20% to 10%. And the attack speed from 20% to 15% on the effect. So Wind Demon will be a little less potent. Big nerf for, I should say big shift for Shell. Upgraded Shell no longer provides block stacks. And instead it's going to, for the gods that it affects, they take 50% less damage from basic attacks as long as they have that shield on them. They pretty much did this just because there are some gods that are really affected by the block stacks. So they think it's better to just remove this. I think a lot of basic attack junglers and some other interactions just weren't working very well, and it was just heavily impacting those gods. And so yeah, Shell upgrade has been changed. Going on to more, there are a lot of mage item buffs. For the upgrade of Ultimate Timeline, they are increasing the magical power from 45 to 70, which is a pretty big jump. No one was really picking up Alternate Timeline just because it didn't seem that good when people were testing it out, so they're trying to buff that to be a little more appealing. Archmage's Gem, they are adding 200 mana to it. Gem of Focus upgrade, they are adding additional magical power from 90 to 100. The upgrade for Bumba's Spear added 10% CDR, removed the mana. The passive now provides a 10% power buff for 10 seconds after jungle camp structures or jungle boxes are killed. No longer provides bonus gold on jungle camp structures and jungle bosses. And they are basically just swapping the gold generation for raw power, wind slaying, all of those jungle monsters and structures. They can now use that 10-second window for some strong power plays in the jungle if they run into people. For Mannequin Hidden Blade, they're removing the basic attack power. It now provides 60 physical power and 90 magical power. And it increases bonus damage on the passive from 15% of the target's current health to 20%. And this item pretty much just struggled to even be bought compared to the other items, and it didn't feel worthwhile to apply it when you had assassins that couldn't convert basic attack power. So they're just buffing this a little bit. Alright, and upgrade for Seer of the Jungle, they're increasing the attack speed from 15% to 30% and increasing the duration of the buff on the passive that allows you to see wards from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. They are basically just giving it extra stats to help compete more evenly with the other jungle starter items. Alright, and Warrior's Axe, they are increasing the health steal on the passive from 25 to 30, decreasing cooldown from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. They want solo laners to have a little bit more options when it comes to starter items. I think a lot of people are just opting for that blue stone, so just making Warrior's Axe a little bit more appealing, as well as Warding Sigil. They're increasing the physical protection of that just to try and make it a little bit more appealing to those solo laners. And for Benevolence, this effect now only gives one nearby ally bonus gold and XP. And this is just to help prevent a lot of gold and XP getting stacked too crazy. And the upgrade for that and Compassion, it's now providing 8 gold per 5, just to help supports who pick that to have a little bit of extra gold since you are giving up some XP. Upgrade for Sentinel's Boon, they're increasing the health and mana restored from the passive from 3% to 4% per assist. The other upgrade to this was kind of just outshining it, so I think they're just trying to make it a little bit better to everyone so that they can decide between the two a little bit more instead of just pick the other starter item. For more mage item buffs, Charon's coin is getting one of those. Decrease costs from 2,500 to 2,400, and increasing the mana, or increasing the magical power from 80 to 90. I think Charon's coin did kind of need this. It did get a nerf, I believe, in the Season 8 update for the movement speed and stuff like that. So it'll be a little bit better to build into now. So glad to see that. Book of Thoth, another one I never see very often, is getting increased mana contribution on the book by 1% and increasing the MP5 from 15 to 20. And they are just doing this so that mages have a little bit of a different build path to go into. I'm happy to see Book of Thoth buffs. I am a mage player after all, so. This one is really interesting. Spear of Magus, they added 12% lifesteal to. So, Anubis will definitely be pretty much building this all the time. I am not too sure of some other gods that would use it pretty well. I mean, you know, Soul maybe, but yeah, I just thought that was pretty interesting. I think they just want to have this compete with Spirit Desolation a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, 12% life still on Magus now. Mail of Renewal, they are decreasing the health from 300 to 250 and decreasing the time the heal takes to complete from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. And they are just doing this because players were feeling underwhelmed by the impact of this item. So increasing that, or decreasing the time it takes for that heal, I think will help this item a little bit. Stone of Foul, they're still trying to make something of this item, decreasing the cost. I still feel like this item is really weird, but yeah, decreased costs on that. All right, and now for Persephone Rework. I am going to show footage of this because this is a lot to go over, and it's a lot better if you see this in game. They are pretty much just reworking her because she was a big frustration god to, or she was a frustrating god to go against, especially in the high levels of play. So we'll go and look at that footage right now.
But we do have one big thing happening to Persephone. It's an entire rework. So
is it time?
Let's go ahead. It is time. It is time.
I haven't heard anything about this yet.
No, there's been zero feedback, I think.
I think it has got some people a little split, but I think that once they see what's going on in game and get to see kind of our thought process behind it, I think we'll be able to win some people over. So let's go ahead and get into a little bit about why you guys think that Persephone needs this rework to begin with.
Yeah, so I would encourage everyone to go read the dev update blog post. It goes into detail about her win rate stats, which are really low across the entire board, her pick rate stats, which are really low across the entire board, the community perception on her, which is really rough. She was one of those characters that when you had to fight against her, you just kind of had some dread. I remember in one of our playtests, one of our playtesters even said, like, man, it was actually kind of relieving walking in here and like fighting a Persephone and not just having that immediate dread. And so that's really, like, that's the perfect criteria for the rework candidates. We have this character who really could only excel at the very, 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 very top level of play. Only like literal SPL players were really heavily using this character. A lot of people were struggling. There was things that the kit felt clunky or off-putting and pushed people away. And so we're doing adjustments to really address a lot of those top-end concerns. So, for example, passive revival, that effect was just really strong, and there's not really a great way to tune that. So that's one of the things that we look to address, as well as what can Persephone do to actually confirm damage? Because against good players, you had to rely on the stage 2 plant rather than the stage 3 plant, because no one's going to get hit by the stage 3 plant as long as they have any amount of reaction time, because they know how to juke it. So those are the types of things you're addressing, giving Persephone more direct control over her kit, as well as giving enemies more clear counterplay opportunities, more clear understanding of where her damage is coming from. And so I think we can get into it and kind of show off the different abilities.
Yes,
Yeah,
let's
let's do
head
it.
in game. I'm excited to see everything because I read the blog, but I want to see it in action. She's
Yeah.
so beautiful too.
And she looks the same, which I think everyone really appreciates the
Yay.
artwork. They really resonate with the design of her. The skeletal minions and the plants especially, those are super iconic. So those are things that like we also really want to preserve. We didn't want to really address any of that and touch any of that because it's all so good.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of my favorite like visual gods and goddesses that we have. I just feel like she's just really pretty.
And she summons crazy, creepy skeletons.
So let's start going through the main kit. So her one previously it had a you'd fire it and you had to really lead your targets because it was it had a very long cast time and didn't update your aim. As well as for pro players, the range in it was so long that you couldn't help but just be poked by this and zoned by this and have to give up so much pressure. So now it's going to be a more kind of standard mage ability where you fire this out, it's passive minions damage and stops on targets. So you can see here, charges forward, hits, slows the target there, as well as I can now aim it and update it to send it flying to new targets after I fire it, which will just make this ability feel a lot more intuitive with how most other mages feel when you pick up a character in Smite. You can see it still places a harvest plant at the feet where it hits, or at max range, so you can see here I throw it out there. You got that skull there, so you can still use this to place skulls. So that's the main update here, just making this a bit more intuitive feeling ability in Smite. This was a more minor rework, but the next ability is going to be like a completely new ability. So this is Harvest. You can see this new targeter shape. It's a area with 3 skulls kind of inside of it. You fire it, a brief windup happens and explodes, creating 3 seeds around it. You can see here I can use this to damage ability or damage enemies. So you can use it to actually poke enemy gods, and you can also use it to poke and set up your seeds at the same time. Skulls, you can also tell, are upgrading immediately to the flower stage. They're no longer going to the bud stage. We're focusing more on you utilizing the charging flowers, and we're giving you much more control over them. So before you'd fire this, and it would just charge at the nearest enemy god and try and follow them. Here you can actually aim it. So you can see when I attack it here, I can aim it, I attack here, it'll try and bite as it gets close. And it's controlled entirely by my basic attack range. So you can see here, like if I'm really close, I can aim a little bit to the right, and it'll go out to the right. I can aim a little bit to the left, it'll go to the left. I can send it wherever I want, and if I have multiple of these out, we'll let them upgrade a little bit, pre-plan a little bit and have a backup so I can use. You can send them to like, hey, they're trying to walk this way. Oh, they're trying to get cut off. I can cut them off this way. Send them out flying that way. You have a lot more play with where you're going to actually send these out. Another important thing is you can send them through the walls. So you can actually catch people who are trying to run through areas. You can catch people who are trying to hide over walls. Yeah, there's no escaping her plants. They're nature. They just kind of move through it.
Their nature.
Nature perseveres.
So that's the main thing here is it's now a cooldown-based ability, which means as much as you can't do 6 plants immediately from storing them up, over the course of a game with some CDR, you will actually be casting this significantly more often. You will have more plants to play with. Especially when you're trying to Phoenix Siege, you're going to be chucking these at the enemy all the time. You'll be throwing these out there, trying to poke your opponents with them, trying to lead them off, head them off. And the most important thing is enemies have a clear understanding of what they need to do to avoid this. They need to get out of the way. They need to try and outrun it. It's no longer this kind of like you have to just have someone tell you, oh yeah, do a little shuffle step like this and you'll avoid it every time.
Right.
So no more shuffle step, but more plants.
Onto the third ability. This is going to be very familiar to players. It's just going to, the only real major difference is that now this does damage on takeoff, so you can see that I hurt my target there, as well as I don't have the pre-seed that I get before because there's no tier 2 plant, as well as there's no really harvest ability to cast upgrade. This damage is really there for the Persephone players who were doing the things like casting this and basic attacking after they leapt for some damage, just to make sure that that's still there if they're escaping from a target jumping on them.
You know what that makes me think of? Neath backflip.
Actually, that was when we were developing her initially. That was like one thing we wanted to be sure that you could do was like backflip. We were talking about like how backflip interacts, making sure that she could go over walls because this was considered a leap, and making sure that that was very clear to players. So yeah, it does have a little bit of that feel.
Nice.
And obviously, the other combo you can do now is you can drop these down, have 3 plants immediately, and send them out flying. One problem Persephone had that we wanted to address with this was if you didn't have a garden set up, you were kind of at the mercy of how the fight was going that you couldn't really contribute much to outside of a single exploding plant. You now in a situation where you got caught off guard completely, maybe you had to rotate because your team moved in a direction that doesn't make any sense, they just decided to chase a kill. You can now pop this down and then leap and send a charging army at your team pretty much on demand, which is definitely a lot more flexibility than she had before. And then finally, we'll see if Bot's orbit behaves. It doesn't like you always. The ultimate, previously what would happen is you wouldn't be able to move further out. Now that, yeah, see, Bot's orbit doesn't behave. That Odin did not respect anything. Before if you moved ever closer, you get more constricted. The ultimate was a huge pain point at the top level because it is a projectile that travels globally, has a big effect area, and it didn't feel like you could ever really counterplay it. Yeah, see, Bot's orbit ain't gonna behave. It just felt very restricted to play against, but we like the core identity and feel of this ability, the idea that the enemy team can come and try and save their trapped teammate. And so one thing that alleviated a lot of the frustration around fighting it was that max range movement. You can actually move up to the max range now, which means Persephone and your team have to work a little bit harder to damage you. It's not going to be so free if they catch you close to the center of it. It's not going to be as immediate of a beads burner. Teams have more opportunities to play around it before they decide they need to burn beads. Just more opportunity, which is the theme of things. So the core thing is playing against Persephone should be a lot more intuitive. It should feel a lot better. It's a lot more manageable. But Persephone herself has more confirmable damage with firing these abilities. She can use the slow to line up targets. She can control the direction they run. She can use this to cut off targets. Her ability to influence what her plants actually do and how successful they are is now in her hands versus the hands of some AI. And then finally, we have the passive rework, which was one of those effects that even if she only did CC, let's say you took all damage off her and she could only do CC, there's something inherent about Smite where when you kill a target, you should feel rewarded and successful for having done the thing. You pick out the Persephone. If you lose a fight because she could still contribute and she still was able to turn the tables, it doesn't matter how balanced it might be. Hi, Kernanos. Kernanos is just chilling over there.
What's going on, Kernanos?
Jump scared me. No matter how fair it might feel or it might be, it's not going to feel fair. And so we thought about what we want to do the passive. We thought the idea of her going to this death realm and reviving and doing something after she dies was still very core to her thematics and something players would appreciate. So in this case, let me turn off God mode. You now enter the death realm. You can see I now can't see anyone. I can't interact with anyone. I don't know where anyone is, but now I'm in this kind of planning stage. So let's say I die in mid lane and I think, hey, they're going to have a fight around Fire Giant. Let's place a few seeds here. Then let's maybe walk over here, put one back here, one back here. And then finally, just in case, I'm going to put one in mid just to make sure I'm good to go. You can place up to 6 seeds in the state. You have all the time that you would normally be respawning. Your respawn timer has started, so you can see I have 28 seconds to respawn. So being in the state is no negative to you. It's entirely just something that you get to do for free. It doesn't cost seeds to enter. And then once you decide to respawn, so I'm going to right-click here to exit the state. I have 17 seconds. I'm just going to revive immediately because I'm a hacker.
And you still get the gold for the seeds as well.
And you still get the gold for the seeds as well. So you can still, you're still rewarded for actually utilizing the garden, creating a whole bunch of plants using them. You can see now that I have exactly where I placed them. If a fight breaks out in mid, I at least have something to immediately use before I start using my 2. I have plants around Fire Giants, so if I need to rush there and start contesting that immediately. Before I might have to use this ability to set up something, and then the enemy team starts fighting, and I've lost one of my core damaging abilities. If you can plan ahead, you get rewarded by having a garden there for you to utilize immediately. So definitely something that you're gonna have to have a lot of map awareness to make effective, but definitely just something that she brings that's unique to her. That is kind of reminiscent of the idea that she, when she dies, she revives and gets to do something, which we thought was core to her identity.
I feel like that really
that
goes
should be
with
the
that
rework.
Cute cultivator skin or whatever. She's such a gardener.
Yep.
Yep, and that was actually something we had to go through and make sure. There's a few new effects, so for anyone who is interested in looking at the skin, Like for example, this targeter, as well as that explosion effect and everything, that's a completely new effect. So we have a few other new effects and sound effects here and there. So you'll be able to explore all the skins and see those as well and what they look like. I think in particular, the Oblivion Queen one looks really
Oh,
cool. The explosion
yes.
there is really neat. It has like this like white skull that pops up in the center. Just really cool stuff there.
All right, guys, so that is the new Persephone. I'm really curious on what you guys think. At first, when I looked over and read this, before I saw what it was like in game, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I do like her. I didn't like the flower aspect at first, but now I do kind of like how you can choose what directions her flowers are going in and how they have that circular area around them and have like that bigger bite radius. So that should help. But yeah, so I don't know. I think I'll have to try her out and then let you guys know what I think. But yeah, I'm optimistic about her rework. So in bonus balance, Gilgamesh got nerfed and he looks like he's getting nerfed again in 8.5. They're decreasing the burst damage from his 1 and then adjusted the stun duration from his drop kick. It's going to be 1.2 seconds at all ranks. That's pretty good. That's a long stun for that kick. So I guess we'll see where this puts Gilgamesh, but I still haven't played a lot with him, so we shall see. And of course, Tiamat getting another nerf that I think is viable, decreasing the lifetime of the deployable for her basilisks, because she was a really big problem with split pushing with just her minions. So it's now going to be 11 seconds for this deployable, which results in only 4 basilisks spawning instead of 6. So hopefully this helps, because I've lost to a Tiamat before where her minions basically ended the game and killed the Titan. So I'm glad about this. Alright, and Bakasura, they are buffing because no one is really picking him up, even though they thought he would do well in a larger map. They're decreasing the mana cost on his Eat minion, and this ability now restores flat mana upon eating a minion. So that should help him a lot. Good buff there. And they're decreasing the cooldown on his Butcher Blades from 14 seconds to 12 seconds. So I'm not really a jungler player or a Baka player, but hopefully this will make him a little bit more viable, even though he is pretty frustrating to go against. My girl Bellona, they are buffing. They're increasing the spin damage for her bludgeon, and so I am a fan of that, just because it feels like she has gone out of favor a lot in solo lane. So looking forward to Bellona buffs. Chiron, a pretty good one, is he is now knockup immune while he is in his 3 while he's galloping. I think that was pretty needed. It felt really weird when you were in that and you just got knocked up and couldn't get out of it. So hopefully, I think this will make Chiron actually pretty good. He'll be a lot safer this way. Daji getting buffed. It looks like her 2 is getting increased base damage and her 3 is increased base damage as well. Looks like the meta just shifted out of her favor, so they're just trying to buff her to get a little bit more play and viability. Fafnir getting some loved with his curse strength, decreasing the cooldown, and also the cooldown applies to dragon form, so it can maybe use that a little bit more when he's in his dragon form. And it looks like his underhanded tactics is also getting a cooldown decrease in his dragon form and his base. I do not see a lot of Fafnir. He can be pretty good. I think these will be good for him. And yeah, I haven't played him a lot, but I know those cooldown buffs are definitely needed. All right, Adhera, I love this. Polymorph is getting increased magical power scaling from 75% to 80%. And her 3, which is her health shield, is getting some buffs. It looks like just an increase on the shield and then increase on the shield from 15 to 17 per her level. I think this will help her. I haven't really seen her been played in mid a lot, and she does have issues with survivability just because she has no movement ability. So I am a big fan of this, and I can't wait to play her when this comes out. And our Noodle Boy Kukulkan, they're decreasing his cooldown on Slipstream. It's going from 15 at all ranks, going down to 15 to 13 seconds. Love this for him. He did have a little bit of a comeback and then got some nerfs, and then no one played him, so I'm glad to be seeing some cuckoo buffs. And another one that I love, Medusa. They are increasing the healing debuff from her Lacerate to 4 seconds and decreasing the cooldown from her dash. This will basically just help her with trades, dashing aggressively, and trying to escape. So big fan of this, and hopefully we see Medusa a little bit more. I do think she's pretty good right now with Bluestone, so this will help out a lot. Lastly, we have Mulan. They are increasing the buff duration from 4 seconds to 6 seconds on her cross strike, which is the attack speed buff, and her grapple, increasing the buff duration from 4 seconds to 6 seconds for the protections, and increasing the stun duration from 0.8 to 1 second. I think this is really good. Already her grapple was so good with if you grappled anyone, you could just have your team follow up and just blow up whoever she grappled. And she got some buffs maybe a patch or two ago where she can now cancel her ult in any form. So I think she's going to be an up-and-coming solo laner, and I do enjoy playing her a lot, and she does a lot of damage. So keep an eye out for Mulan, because she's going to be pretty good. And that is it for the new update that's coming out. Let me know what you guys think. I think this one was really good. Love that they're collabing with Monstercat, adding Azula, Pele, doing some good nerfs to things that were annoying, giving some love to other things. That is it for this, and I will see you guys in the next video.